First, I'm happy to have you here.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's good to have you here. It's good to see your progression from when you first walked in, and this past year you've gone through different highs and lows, right?
Yes, sir.
Uh, the game is very personal. Basketball is very personal, and it's played all around the world. So it's it's a challenge because you could work as hard as you want to. Don't mean you're gonna have 50 points the next game. You could put in 10 hours of work on Monday and you might miss every shot on Tuesday. You know what I'm saying? It's an imperfect game. So, that's frustrating. But progression also isn't just linear. You know what I'm saying? You might have to take a step backwards and be better at the backward step before you go forward. Does that make sense? So now it's like, damn, am I getting better? It's actually like you're handling this a lot better, but we had to take you back here for you to realize that you're handling it better. So we'll kind of get into that. But outside of basketball, because we're who we are first, right? I'm Coach Rob to y'all. I'm Robert Johnson on my birth certificate. My father is Robert Johnson. My grandfather is also Robert Johnson. Um, so I want to know, what's your name? Where did it come from? What's your upbringing? Where you from? Uh, what's your first love as far as a sport? What's some of the things that you had interest in before you even picked up a basketball? More or less who you are, and as we're reintroducing ourselves.
Yes, sir. Of course.
Mm-hmm.
So, my name is Alex Randall, Alex Tristan Randall. I'm 18 years old. I'm here from Georgia. So, it's been a journey these 18 years, especially starting basketball at 15 to now. So, I came from Snellville, Georgia. That's where I was born and raised. Um, I'm not sure where my mom had me. I'm not sure if it was a hospital or home birth.
Mm-hmm.
But my name Alex comes from my dad's older brother. He
Mm-hmm.
was killed back in Chicago when he was 18, I believe. So that's where my first name comes from. My middle name comes from a movie, I'm pretty sure. My mom had a movie she liked, and she was originally going to name me Tristan as my first name,
Mm-hmm.
but it didn't work out that way. So, but I'm thankful I got the name Alex. Randall, of course, is my father's last name.
Mm-hmm.
So I inherited that. As far as my first love, I'm pretty sure it was video games. So I've
Okay.
always been playing video games since I was younger. Started off with a game called Skylanders.
So what system? What?
System.
Yep.
Uh,
Like the
first
progression of the systems. Your first system, and then kind of what you transitioned into, if you remember.
okay, so my very first system was a Wii.
Okay.
I think the original Wii, not the Wii U, the little white narrow one.
Okay.
From there I progressed onto an Xbox 360,
Okay.
and then from there I went up to the computer.
So it's so funny because, like, growing up, my generation, I was like the second generation of video games. Not the very first. I think it was like 1991. I got my first system for Christmas '95, a Super Nintendo, right? But I think maybe even '89, the first system. But like, so I was the second generation, and we always looked at it as a kid's thing. You get what I'm saying? Like, we didn't really, like, video games is something your parents will take away from you if you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing at home. Like, it's a kid's thing. And now to see y'all love the game like that, I could relate because we love the game like that. Like, this is a 20-year gap, 15-year gap. You know what I mean? From the first game. So, you saying your first love is video games, I could relate to that. So you went from the Wii to the 360. Like, what type of games? What was your, like, what was your first game that you were like, okay, I'm hooked to this?
So, like I said, Skylanders, it's a game. I'm pretty sure it's an extension that you plug into the Wii,
Okay.
and you have these characters that you put on this extension, and you can play them in the game.
Okay.
So it's an adventure story game for the most part. It has a little bit of action into it, but for the most part, it's a story. I think it runs for about there's 7 different games.
Okay.
So I think they released one once every year. But as it progressed, the toys would get different. So I think they came out with like these crystals as an add-on that you could buy for the
Mm-hmm.
characters, and it would give them like special vehicles and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So just little cool things like that. I don't think I've always been to adventure games. I think that was just the only one that I really stuck with.
Mm-hmm.
But I think shortly after that, a game called Minecraft came out,
Mm-hmm.
which is where it really birthed my architectural skills. I liked building in that game, so I think that's where I get the interest to go into real estate.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as other games, I think it's always been sandbox games for me.
Okay.
Games where you can just be creative and be free and just do what you want and create what you want and kind of express how your mind is thinking.
Yeah, I could relate to that. Now that I'm asking the question, I'm realizing my first love was Legos.
Yep.
Never looked at the manual. I always get it. My pops had bought me this like Lego board. Like it had the four legs and
Yep.
so I don't know where if we would get the sets. I just know I had a box full of it must have been 20 sets all mixed up and combined. It was never like do this, build here. Like I was never good at like reading a manual and wanting to build it like that. I would just take all the pieces and then create whatever it was. And this was probably before the video games. You know what I mean? So I understand like I think a child's creativity, I have a 13-year-old daughter. And just to watch her and observe, I just watch really, really close. Like you almost have to let them just freelance. You know what I mean? Like just explore it on their own without saying, no, do it like this, do it like this. Let me actually see what comes to your mind because 10 different people might see a project 10 different ways, right? That's the artist, and all of us. So that's interesting to know. So you got a little brother, right?
Yes, sir.
How far are you all apart?
So my younger brother, we're 2 years apart. He was
Okay.
born in October.
Okay.
My older sister, I think she's 27.
Okay.
So, but she's my half sister.
Okay.
But you know, isn't it, I wouldn't really call it my half sister because we grew up together. Like we've been inseparable. So I
So
would
in the
think of
same house.
Yep. So I would think of her as my whole sister.
So Alex at 5 years old, your little brother's 3.
Yep.
Your sister would be how old would she have been at that time?
3, 7, what, 27, 18, 19, 20. Uh, quick now, quick now. Come on, come on, come on. Think. 17. No, 18, 19, 20, and then 7 years on that.
She's 9 years older than you.
Yeah. So
So
9 years older than me.
high school, like 14.
Yeah.
I'm asking, do you remember her being in high school? Do you remember like okay?
I vaguely remember that.
Okay.
I think the only closest memory I have to that was her graduation. I was
Okay.
there at her graduation.
And
I
then
think that's the only memory I have.
and then she was out the house
Yeah.
pretty soon after that.
Yep.
So then you and your little brother grew up a lot together, right?
Yep.
Tell me about just about that dynamic. Like what did home feel like? What was home like from your recollection? Like with your sister being there. Remember when she left, mom, didn't with dad, whatever it was. Like what was that like? What's your memory of that?
So we actually bounced around a lot. So the first house we were in, which was in Snellville, I think I was there from when I was born to about 5, 6 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my brother were the closest then. We had, I think from that point until I got into high school, me and my brother were inseparable. We had the closest, strongest bond I could think of.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as the first house, like I said, we would always be doing those stuff together, building, playing games. We'd be out in the neighborhood, driveways, outside, just being together with each other, understanding each other. My parents recorded a lot of stuff, so we have a lot of videos and
Okay.
photos and memories and stuff to
Mm-hmm.
look back on. As far as my sister, she was there. We didn't really hang out much.
Mhm.
It was more just me and Blake. So
Mhm.
I was more focused on my brother. We were tight like that. As far as moving into the second house, like I said, from 6 years old to I think about 12 or 13, we were in Folsom Street. I'm not sure. I think it was still in Snellville.
Okay.
So the same thing pretty much. Me and my brother inseparable. We spent a lot of time outside around
Mm.
that time. I think that's around the time that my dad left.
Okay.
So it was just my mom. I think he came back a few years after that. So right before we had made our third move. Um, Relationship with my mom's always been great. With my
Mm.
dad has always been great. Of course, at that age, I didn't understand
Mhm.
why he would leave, but I think the reason what being is because my mom didn't want to share that information with me to, keep the bond between me and my father strong
Mm-hmm.
because, his relationship with my mom shouldn't affect the relationship that he has with his children.
Mm-hmm.
So I think as I got older, I understand that now that she has shared that information with me. Um, as far as going to our third house, which was actually my grandmother's house, which is right around the corner from here.
Mm-hmm.
It was a unique time moving in with my grandma. My mom was, struggling. She was working through some things. Um, I think this is where I started to begin to separate from my brother a little bit and grow into my own. Um, I played a lot of video games during this time. I think this was around the time COVID happened.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just in the house all the time playing games. Um, I moved on during this time period to Taekwondo. Me and my brother started the Taekwondo class.
Okay.
So we did that for about 4 years. We went to tournaments, AAU tournaments, all that stuff. We traveled with the team, all of that. Relationship with my grandparents was great. Of course, we stayed downstairs, so I didn't really interact with them much.
Mm-hmm.
As far as that, I mean, I love my grandparents, everything. So I feel like as I get older, the relationship and the bond between them will grow closer as I can understand and relate to them more
Mm-hmm.
on experiences rather than being a kid.
Let me ask you this. So that's a good that gives me more perspective because we've just been basketball for the
Yeah.
most part, right?
Yes, sir.
So even understanding some of the things, I can relate to a lot of them. And I find it interesting. Me and my brother, we're 15 months apart, so I know that bond. Um, and I have an older brother that's 2 years older than me, right? So I'm the middle child. I have two older sisters on my father's side. Both of them stayed in New York. I only remember growing up with two brothers in the house. It was always three of us. It was Jason, and then me and my brother. We shared the same name, Robbie Reggie. Like if my mom was calling for us, she called us at the same time. If we had chores, Jay had his chores, then we had our chores at the same time. So we were really tight, and I was always grateful to grow up with brothers because I feel like now um, just just the concept of sharing, right? Like you go through that thing with your little brother where like you go to the drive through and you order a 10 piece and they're like and your brother ordered a 10 piece and it just irks you. You know what I'm saying? Like why you want to do the same thing that I want to do? Like, you go through the little bit of time and then as you get older you realize like, damn, nobody in this world has experienced life that can relate to all the little things. Now he has his own separate life that he's lived, right? So nobody's is the same, but I feel like you get to appreciate them as you get older, and it almost is better when you don't wait till you get older to start appreciating that time that you spent together. You know what I mean? Like, I always was really close with my brother, and I'm grateful for that because I saw brothers growing up uh, that would clash. You know what I'm saying? And I always like would see scenarios in which could create that, and a lot of times it could come from I don't want to say jealousy, but like competition, right?
Yeah.
You both play video games. If your little brother's better than you at the game, y'all might get to fighting from that. You know what I'm saying? Like if y'all riding bikes and one's faster, that shit might just get to you. You know what I'm saying? Like because we don't know the responsibility until we're forced to know the responsibility of being an older brother. This is just our best friend. You get what I'm saying? So how was that dynamic with you two being close in age, but from what I've seen, Blake he got the height on you. You know what I mean? Were y'all always the same height, or were you taller and then he started creeping up? Like, how was the competition growing up in the same house? Now that you look back, like, what was that like?
Um, I think for my younger years, we didn't have much competition
Mm-hmm.
because, me being me, I've always wanted to see my brothers and my family win.
Mm-hmm.
So it's never really a better than you thing. I think that it started when I got into my early teens, 13s and 14s,
Mm-hmm.
where that competition started to rise. I've always been taller than him.
Mm-hmm.
He only grew taller than me, I think, as the past year maybe.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a quick thing, a quick adjustment. So I think that's the main one of the biggest competitive things for us right now is height,
Mm-hmm.
being taller than each other. Of course, I want to be the tallest. He wants to be the tallest. So,
Mm-hmm.
but anytime I see him, he wants to make fun of me. So,
Mm-hmm.
I'm taller than you now, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that stuff does get to me.
Mm-hmm.
But outside of that, I don't think there's ever been any real competition between me and him.
That's good.
I think from his side though, there is. So
Right.
he's constantly competing with me. I don't really see it as competition from my side competing with my younger brother.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like he's always trying to get to my level or higher. So I feel like it's a constant race with him.
Mm-hmm.
As far as for me, it's not.
Right. And I say that to say it's okay to talk about it.
Yeah.
It's okay for y'all to, your relationship is kids, but you still young men. You're growing, but you're not kids anymore. And as you go into this real world, that's all you got. You know what I'm saying? And you're gonna need each other because, like, I used to, we come up with hand-me-downs, like clothes that used to fit me. I don't wear no more. My brother gets them. I had an older brother, so it might be 3 generations of hand-me-downs. And I'm not realizing from my experience, you don't know what it's like for the little brother to always be the last one to get they don't really get nothing new. You know what I'm saying? Growing up in that, at least for me, I don't want to project, but they don't get anything new. And that wasn't my experience, right? We did the sports first. He had to watch, and then by the time he's ready to do them, it might not be the same passion from our parents about the sport that he's doing. So as you get older, you start to really realize, like, you know, uh, or to have more empathy about their situation, or maybe how they see it, right? Maybe they were overlooked with something. We only know it from our standpoint. It's good to talk about it and see what it's like from their standpoint. Like, man, what was it like just growing up? Like, what did you see? Because if they can be vulnerable with anybody, it should be able to be their brother, right?
That's a good thing because now I think about I've never thought of it from that perspective. I've never sat down with my brother and really had a conversation with him about just life in general, about how he sees things. So
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna use that next time I see him. I'm really gonna ask him to sit down and try to understand, what got him to here.
Right.
Like, what's his thought process like?
Right.
Like, how does he view me? How does he view the family? What are his goals? What are his aspirations? Because to me, I don't know any of that right now.
Right.
I mean, I might have used to, but so much has changed in these years. And I feel like the lack of communication between me and him as we begin to, distance ourselves from each other, with me moving here,
Mm-hmm.
the 2 months being away from home, it's a lot more that I could learn about my brother.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And we'll spin back to that. You mentioned something about um, having dad in the home and then not. What do you remember from having him there? Do you have vivid memories of growing up with your pops? What was that like?
So,
Because everybody doesn't get to grow up with a dad at all. So,
yeah.
what was that like?
So I really have bits and pieces of memories. I don't really have a full timeline. But as far as athletics goes, it was a rough, man. He was always yelling. I feel like that's more of a negative side. But I knew it came from a good place because it's hard coaching. I wouldn't say it's a negative thing. It's just a coaching style to get results that may not come from being passive, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I always hated it. I feel like that's the reason why, you know, me being yelled at sometimes I don't really tolerate that because it just takes me back to that. But to get away from that negative side, the positives, he would always play with us outside. Every Friday he would take us and we would go buy like one toy. He would get
Mm-hmm.
me and my brother just one toy every Friday. There was this toy called Beyblades that we had.
Mm-hmm.
So he had his own Beyblade and we would rip it and we would battle him every now and then. Um, I'm trying to think what else. It was really just stuff like that. Like I said, they were always recording me and my brother.
Mm-hmm.
So collecting memories, stuff like that. Um, I don't really remember much else. It was really just baseball, my brother. It was really just centered around me and my brother. So
Okay.
I
Okay.
don't really have many strong memories to give you. I
Right.
just remember the little bits and things right there, here and there. Um, so yeah, I don't really. I can't really
No,
think of
that's
much else.
the area. So all memories become just little bits here and there,
Yeah.
right? You think about the every year is 365 days, and every day is 24 hours, right?
Yeah.
But if I'm trying to remember my year 13, it's just like a breeze. Like you only remember one or two things. Year 7, one or two things.
Yeah.
Year 8, one or two things. But every year is the same amount of time. You know what I'm saying? And then as you start to think about them, more, I call it like if in your brain, more rooms start to open up. It's like, look, these files are tucked away, but if you want to open these files, you can.
Yeah.
And then you start to, recollect a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. So um, it'll probably start coming to you. I know it's on the spot right now, but
Yeah.
just wanted to kind of know that dynamic. And then as far as just mom, like what's some things that you remember growing up? Let's say to eighth. Actually, let's go earlier than that. Let's go like 6th grade, 7th grade, from when you can remember life to about then. What's some things that you really remember from mom, or something that she might have, showed you or you observed, that maybe she doesn't even know?
So as far as my mom goes, I haven't really, now that I think about it, even though I can't really give you, a long lineage of memories of my father, my mom always described me and my brother as being more about my father. So we never really spent much time with her
Mm-hmm.
as far as, building a relationship, having conversations, stuff like that. It was always just us and our dad.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that really developed until my older years, which was around
Okay.
15, 16 when he finally did leave and left for an extended period, which is up till now.
Mm-hmm.
But when he was just here and there coming back and forth, we really only entertained our father. Not to say that we neglected our mom, but it was just it was a strong relationship with him because we spent so much more time with him in
Right.
our earlier years
Right.
than as opposed to our moms. But as far as I remember, she was just always working,
Yeah.
just figuring stuff out. She was big into film and photography,
Okay.
so she was away on jobs sometimes, but for the most part, she was just figuring it out because she was in the process of trying to build. She wanted to retire, but her her workspace didn't allow for that. So she
Mm-hmm.
had to kind of pivot and she started moving into the film industry.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like from that time around 6th grade to about 8th grade is when she made that shift and she left for an extended period while we were at our grandma's.
Mm-hmm.
But she would come back every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
So just I never really paid much mind to it until, she had me sit down and explained it to me thoroughly
Mm-hmm.
why she had disappeared for like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, the relationship with my mom has gotten a lot stronger in these recent years,
Mm-hmm.
which is a good thing because it shares a new perspective
Mm-hmm.
on, the earlier stages of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And it really brings into perspective also, some of the things my dad was doing.
Mm-hmm.
So it also furthers my understanding of the family dynamic at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So much respect for it. I love my mom, love my father. Um, yeah, that's pretty much
Okay.
it.
Okay. So first sport was baseball.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you like it, or is it something they just put you in?
So they just put me in baseball. I started at I think about 3 years old playing
Okay.
t-ball.
Okay.
From there, I think I stopped at 13.
What
So
position?
10 years, I played everywhere.
Okay.
So I played first base, second base, played
What was
everywhere.
your favorite position?
Pitcher.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I think in my later years, around 9 to about when I left baseball, was my main position,
Okay.
pitcher.
Okay.
I've always been great at that. My mom says she would always describe whenever they would have tryouts. It was at Parkview when I
Mm-hmm.
was in my younger years, so I think around 7 or 8.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when I would try out, the coaches would constantly argue on me being on their team.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was about 6 coaches in the how would you explain that? The 6 coaches in the
In the league.
yeah, the league.
Mm-hmm.
Um so I feel like that was a cool memory, but I've always been interested in football though,
Okay.
because in between games, my mom would tell me that I would be one walking around with a football, and two there would be this field right behind the baseball fields,
Mm-hmm.
and it would be maybe 8 or 9 kids playing like one quarterback throwing,
Yep.
kids running, catching the ball, scoring on the other side of the sidewalk. So I would just always be involved in that space, but I was never allowed to play football
Okay.
because my father was afraid of injuries. And him seeing his teammates get injured and him being injured himself, he didn't want that negatively to
So he
affect.
was a football player.
Yeah, he was a
Okay.
football player.
What position do you know?
I don't know. As far as I know, the only thing I know is that he went to training camp for the NFL.
Okay.
That's the only thing I know about his football career.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I've always loved football. Um,
That's interesting. I love football too.
yeah,
Like people might see me as a basketball coach. It was for years I loved football way more than basketball. I actually stopped playing basketball. I wanted to quit basketball and go straight to football. It was my I want to say I played fifth grade, sixth grade, seventh grade, eighth grade, ninth grade. Then we had a coach come in, and this is before there was like big quarterbacks. You know what I'm saying? Back then, quarterbacks were always like, especially at high school level, the smallest, who could run an option, or you know what I mean. It was no like, I want to say black quarterbacks, but Michael Vick was like the prototype. Not so much like a Jameis Winston or who I like Byron Leftwich. Like I always liked John Elway. You know, not a black quarterback, but a pocket quarterback that played with his arm and with his IQ, had heart. You know, a great leader. So I saw the game like that. I loved football, and I started playing. I got two brothers, so we would play one on one. I'd be all time quarterback. Me and my brother, we had a route tree and everything. You know what I mean? Yellow, red. I remember to this day, we would create routes that we would go do. And for some reason, like I was always tight. I'm tighter now with my older brother than I was. I was the one that was competitive with him.
yeah,
Um, and then my little brother, he just had time for me. So we did everything together. Whereas my older brother, that 2 year gap and him had been the only child for those couple of years, he might, you know, his personality, he didn't, he's the older brother. I probably enjoyed being my little brother's older brother. You know what I'm saying? Because if I say something, we going to go do it, right? So, man, I really like those games you described. We would go to the football game on Friday nights. I'm not even watching the game. I'm on the field on the side
yeah,
playing. You know what I'm saying? Like, and we would no pads. We playing tackle. You know what I mean? Like this is we would organize games. I had birthday parties where we just playing pickup, but football. I enjoyed that so much. You know, so to hear you say that you love football, you know, I know people in the NFL, former players, a lot of people don't want their kids playing because of injury, but I just think it's something that like it helps you out in every sport. It just have you ever played you never played organized football? Have you ever played any contact sport, like a combat sport?
I did taekwondo.
Taekwondo. Okay. So that's good. I just think football gets you used to what it feels like to get hit
Yeah,
and understand the power of your own body, the power of your shoulder, the power of, you know, when you how to embrace for a hit, how to deliver one, you know what I mean? And it helps you in basketball. It helps you, you know, in other sports. So, you know, it's interesting with the frame that you have. I see why that you wanted to play it. So basketball, let's get into that.
yes, sir.
What's the journey? Where'd you start out at? Um, what made you fall in love with it? Who were some players that you really liked to watch, you know, growing up, or who inspired you to even get into the game?
Okay, so who inspired me to get in? I think it wasn't a player that inspired me to get into basketball. It happened during COVID.
Okay.
So right as COVID ended and we started shifting back to going to regular school is when I had just quit baseball
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, I want something to do, but baseball isn't interesting. Taekwondo isn't interesting. Let me pick up a basketball. So I feel like that's where it started. And then walking into eighth grade, getting on the first team, working out, seeing what that environment was like.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, I enjoy this a little bit, so I'm gonna stick with it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really play much that eighth grade year because I was new to it. I was developing my skills.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as off the court, I was in the gym, not in the gym, but I had the driveway with a hoop.
Mm-hmm.
I was in the driveway just working, running around the neighborhood,
Mm-hmm.
dribbling the ball, lifting weights on my own, just stuff like that, just developing my body and just running off of pure love for the
Mm-hmm.
game at that time point. So walking into my freshman year, I think that's my first real season of basketball where I actually played.
This is 2020 what?
2022.
Okay.
Walking into 2022, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, as far as I remember, I don't really remember much from my freshman year as far as basketball. I was still developing as a player, so always first in runs, always first in whatever I did.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that's just me embracing my work ethic, my natural work ethic.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been like that. But I feel like most of my development came from my own my own work, not really as much as being with a coach or a trainer.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I feel like at the end of that season, walking into AAU, I met James.
Mm-hmm.
Are you familiar with James?
Yep.
Um, I met James through my dad.
Mm-hmm.
So I just started training with him, I think maybe 3 times a week
Mm-hmm.
for about 3 weeks. But he was busy with, NBA, G League stuff and
Mm-hmm.
overseas stuff. So the training schedule was really inconsistent.
Mm-hmm.
But what I learned from him was a lot of valuable stuff. He really emphasized footwork
Mm-hmm.
and shooting form. So those are the two main things that I really took from him and really implemented into my own training schedule and regimen.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as walking into my sophomore year, that was the beginning. What was I, JV? Yeah, I was JV that year too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I feel like that was just more fun for me. I
Mm-hmm.
had a lot of fun that season. I really didn't really put too much workload on me because a lot of my friends were on that team. So I really spent more time off the court just hanging out,
Mm-hmm.
building chemistry with my teammates as far as just working out, working out, working out. I feel like that's what made the season as fun as it was. Um, Walking into my junior year, it was another fun season for me. So
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't. I feel like at the end of my junior year, it was more. I got back into that mindset of okay, I need to work out more. I need to be in the weight room more and
Right.
stuff like that. But at the start of it, like I said, carrying over from my sophomore year was more fun, building chemistry with my teammates. Just enjoying the sport.
Right.
At the end of my junior year, I walked into the skill factory. Of course, the
Okay.
first semester was interesting.
Let's
It was a new
yeah,
walk of life at that point.
yeah. Tell me about the decision to leave the traditional high school
Mhm.
and then join a prep school. I know we had spoke through James,
Yeah.
and big shout out to James. That's I think a very inspiring person. He walks it, you know what I mean? He doesn't just talk about it. If he gives you his time, he's gonna be genuine. I watched him for years, not only as a coach, but an incredible player. You know what I mean? Incredible, just a person. But tell me about the mindset to leave your comfort zone of high school with your friends to join a prep school.
Yep. So at the end of my junior year, a lot of my teammates just weren't returning to the team. It was just gonna be me.
Mm-hmm.
I was having some issues with the coaching staff,
Mm-hmm.
even though I was getting minutes and I just didn't feel like I was developing as a player.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what fueled my ultimate transition over to the skill factory. Um, I love that team. I love everything that they did for me prior,
Mm-hmm.
but I just felt like I needed more to get to where I wanted to go at that time point,
Where was that?
the NBA.
Okay. So it sounds like you don't get into anything half-ass. If you're gonna get into it, you try and go all the way.
Of course.
Okay. So just to segue to you actually coming, because I remember still your first day.
Yep.
What was, from your point of view, your perspective, what was that like walking into, because we were already in season at that point, right? Yeah. What was that like?
So walking into the team was cool. I was very nervous at that time. I was just all over the place. I'm just trying to figure it out. It's a new environment for me,
Mm-hmm.
being around higher level players than what I was used to,
Mm-hmm.
just trying to really, how do I say this? Really trying to not seem like I'm too far behind than what they are, trying to match the level.
Mm-hmm.
As far as that goes, but the work ethic remained. I always was going to outwork everybody there. So, but it was a new environment. I understood the coaching. I liked the new coaching style. I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't really familiar with it. Training schedule. It was a big shift, working out all days throughout the week,
Mm-hmm.
especially during the day, and then you got games on the weekend. It was a more shift for my body and my mental
Mm-hmm.
as far as that goes. Um, Meeting the players was cool. I don't think I got too close to any of the players other than maybe Smoke and I think OJ.
Okay.
OJ was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, workouts were cool. Everything was good. Playing with the team was cool, but of course, I didn't really get to play much because shortly after OJ broke my nose.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, I think that was my first broken bone actually. So,
So
yeah,
tell me about and tell me just about you mentioned something with you gonna outwork everybody.
yep.
When you got there, did you feel like, okay, I can outwork everybody here, or was it like, damn, like what was that experience like?
So as far as that goes, I don't really make it a conscious thought to think, okay, I'm gonna outwork her. I feel like it's subconscious for me. So I just naturally just do that. I
Mm-hmm.
don't really have to think much about it. It's just who I am as a person.
Right.
So
Because that's one thing I did admire. I loved your work ethic.
yeah,
But I mentioned that basically to say AG was there.
yes, sir.
And that's a hard bar to pass on work ethic, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
but from your experience, um, you were saying that, it was a little bit different, um, with the level and things of that sort. What were the days like going home? Were you inspired? Were you discouraged? What was the feeling? Was it like, okay, I got time, it's a timetable. What would you feel like as you were going through the process, or are you present in the moment, just like, all right, it's just a day at a time? What's your approach that way?
So at the very start, the first 2 weeks, I think I was very discouraged because I just wasn't having the best time. I was turning the ball over. Um, it was just a lot to process in that time frame. I think I didn't get it to be present in the moment until right after I broke my nose. I realized that okay, um, this is gonna be tough.
Hmm.
So I need to really key in on, workouts and understanding the game because at that previously to that, I didn't really understand basketball. I just
Hmm.
played basketball.
Hmm.
So I feel like having my nose broken, it wasn't a setback, but it gave me time to develop my IQ of basketball.
Hmm.
So I feel like that's one of the things I really needed to develop at that time.
Hmm.
Walking into, I think about right after my nose healed when I could get back on the court.
Hmm.
It was just applying that newfound IQ of the game and understanding into that space. So I feel like it just took more time for me to understand that, and walking into the AAU season really was um, more time to develop that aspect of my game.
Hmm.
So
That's so from my perspective, I remember you coming in. I take kids based off of relationships.
yeah,
It's rare that I'll just go blindly recruit a kid. It's either came from somebody. So if James says this kid, I think he could be good. He reminded him of another player that I worked with, Ronald. I don't know if you met Ronald over the summer, Ronnie.
Ronnie,
Yeah, yeah. So I was excited just about that part. But I don't only train for players to get to the NBA. You
yes, sir.
understand what I'm saying? I like to meet work ethic where it's at. Somebody works hard and has a passion for it. So for me to hear that you feel like you really improved on the IQ standpoint, like that's satisfying to me, right? Because that's what I'm trying to give. It's not necessarily just jewels on how to win a game or within the game just a skill set. It's a overall understanding of the game because the game is an art form within itself. You know what
Yes,
I
sir.
mean? Like, and there's levels to it. So now, even me growing up, I learned so much from 24 until now in the last 11 years. I learned way more than my first 24 years. I probably learned more in a 4 year span because at first it's just trial and error. You see
Right.
something, you emulate, you understand what you may or may not be able to do. But then when there's a design and a science behind it, you watch the game at the next level, it's a totally different experience, right?
Yeah.
So speak on just now, current day,
Mhm.
just from an IQ standpoint. What is it that um, that you feel like you've learned that you try to apply that you wish, maybe not even wish you got earlier because you got it in high school, but that you would like to just build on, whether now or if you have children or somebody that you put in the game? What are some things that you kind of gain that you're like, I see that now and I didn't see it before I started?
Being present. So I feel like being present, also the pain of sacrifice or the pain of disappointment. Oh,
Hmm.
what's the saying? What's the
The
saying?
pain of discipline.
Pain of discipline,
Hmm.
or
The pain of disappointment.
got you. So I feel like, yep, that saying right there sticks with me because it ties into my work ethic and who I am. So it really just connects to me. But like I said, being present,
Hmm.
is not getting too far ahead of yourself to where you're so hopeful for the future that you neglect what's happening right in front of you.
Hmm.
So I feel like taking time to absorb information and really key in on, can I apply this? Where can I apply this? Is it going to be beneficial to me? Is it going to help somebody that I care about or other people? Is one of the things that's really stuck with me being here at TSF.
Hmm.
Um, I can't really think of anything else. Just being present is just the main thing that stuck with me that I just keep replaying in my head.
Hmm.
So just being appreciative of everything that's happening in the now, and then what happens in the future, you'll get to it. So,
Hmm.
and then you'll be in the present then, so you can then apply what you learned previously to what's happening in that now.
Yeah. Okay. So and then we're just timelining right now,
Yep.
just kind of update into present day. So played played AAU.
Yes, sir.
I saw a difference in the confidence from
Mhm.
when you first came to AAU, but I also saw a shift in the mindset. And with that shift, just from my perspective, to be more aggressive, we all love to score.
Yep.
It's validation. You feel like you're doing something. I knew, growing up, I knew a kid played baseball. He didn't play much, but he would always slide and get his pants dirty, to make it look like he did something.
Yeah.
Like we only get the validation from scoring, it seems like, growing up, right? Nobody really knows who sets the good pick or who cuts hard or who swings the ball or who contributes to winning. You only get the recognition as a scorer. Um, so for me as a coach, it's I have to really watch and observe the mentality, because wanting to score is also a sign of being fearless,
Yep.
because the best players in the world miss half their shots. And then the next tier misses 60% of their shots,
Yes, sir.
right? So it's a game and it's a craft that you're gonna fail more than you succeed for the majority. Similar to baseball, the best hitter in the world hits 1 out of 3 times. You
Yep.
know what I'm saying? And that's all-star numbers, MVP numbers. So to see the shift, I saw one way that it was confidence,
Yep.
and another way, to me, I thought, I hope he's not getting discouraged with what the version of him is going to need to be to play for a long time, because that was the goal at the
Yep.
time. And like I always say, in this game, the best scorers in the world, Shea, Kyrie, Luca, LeBron. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's hard to just be considered that.
Yes,
But that's the. So tell me a little bit about that balance from playing to AAU. What was the mindset going in of what you wanted to accomplish for yourself, but still, wanting to be an all-around player? I think be an all-around player.
Yep.
What was that mindset like?
Mindset wise, walking into AAU, was just to go out and kill. I was talking to my father at that point. He was just telling me that, you know, you have to have a mentality that nobody in front of you is going to stop you from getting to the hoop. So you should just have your way on the court, do what you need to do. Of course, the main objective is to win,
Mm-hmm.
but we still have somewhere we're trying to get to, and where we want to get to is going to involve you being a killer like that. So that was the main drive for me wanting to score as much as I did and being
Mm-hmm.
discouraged when I didn't score, because that message being implanted in my head was just on replay, replay, replay. So that was just my main focus being in basketball at that point. And up until recently, until I decided to, step away, was just always my main focus. So,
So, and the reason I asked that, and I'm glad we can be transparent with that, right?
yep,
It's so hard in a sport when you're getting 5, 6 different instructions.
yep,
You know what I'm saying? You lose the joy in it in a way
mm-hmm,
because you might be doing really well at something. I might say, man, your defense, your communication, your energy is excellent right now, but you finish with 6 points and you feel like you didn't do anything. And the first thing when you call mom or dad, not you, but hoopers in general, how did the game go? We went good, we won, or we lost. How many points you have? You
yep,
know what I'm saying? You might have had 6, you might say I had 10.
yep,
You know what I'm saying? Deep down, you know that you had
yeah,
6. And it's like it triggers something that we went through as kids trying to make our parents happy. You know what I'm saying? Like that um that like clash of what's my coach telling me, who I just met but I trust, versus my parents who I know my whole life and I'm supposed to trust. Even if the coach said, man, if the parents say, forget what the coach say, this is what I'm telling you.
yep,
Most of the time, instinctually, we're gonna go with what our parents say. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad that we were able to have that because I saw the shift,
mm-hmm,
right? But I wasn't mad at it because I'm thinking that's a progression that people got to go through. I'm glad we could do it in AAU,
yep,
and let's stay on this plan because now that I see that you are fearless, now we can tie that into everybody wants to get 10 points. I don't care who you are. You should try to get 10 points in a game,
yes, sir,
but everybody don't need to get 20. You know what I'm saying? And when you get 10, and you got to be okay with that. So basketball is still being figured out. It's in the first 100 years. My whole philosophy is trying to uh, give information a little bit earlier than having to be 24, 25 before you get it. You know what I mean? So, so summer, parents coming to the games. What was your feeling in the summer? Are you feeling good? Because I remember when we was working out every day, you went through a streak where you was playing really well. Handle was tight. You were scoring. Your shot was off the charts
yep,
in the summer, right?
yes, sir,
Then you hit that wall where you left for a little bit and you came back, and then I saw the light wasn't as bright for me observing after that. Tell me about that time when you got to that peak and then when you came back and I noticed a difference. Do you feel like could you explain maybe what the transition was
yep,
or what happened between that so maybe I'll get a better understanding because I'm still learning also, you
yep.
know?
So during that time period, no, the time I took off, I just got really lazy. Like, I just didn't want to do it anymore. Like, I was burnt out because I had just been so consistent with basketball that I was just like, damn, like I just need a break. I just need to relax. So I feel like taking those 2 weeks off really had a decline in my mental as far as what I thought of basketball and where I thought I could go with basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why it showed when I came back.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it was just laziness. There's no other word for it. I just got lazy. I shouldn't have got lazy like that. I should have, stayed still connected to basketball because at that point I just completely disconnected from basketball. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't do anything basketball related. I didn't look at a ball, none of that for those 2 weeks. So I feel like that also played a part in my skill set. Of course, being off for 2 weeks, you're gonna lose some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So just stepping back into it and having to rebuild what I had lost due to laziness
Mm-hmm.
is going to, be discouraging because damn, 2 weeks ago my shot was perfect, my handle was tight. Now I
Mm-hmm.
gotta pretty much rebuild what I had once before. So I feel like that could be discouraging too in a way. Um, yeah, just laziness.
Man, 2 weeks is like 2 months in
Yep,
basketball,
it sure
and
is.
it feel longer than that.
Yep,
And that's what I go through it all the time. You'll get to a certain point, you'll climb, you'll actually um, we always then like we spoke off camera the other day, it's that spike.
yep,
You go so hard at something and you have a goal that you want to reach, right? And
yep,
you get there and you flowing and you feel good and then maybe you don't have the access, maybe you take a day off, maybe there's a balance that comes. The balance of that spike is that low.
yep,
It's that where I don't feel like doing anything. And yeah, my game is good, but I don't got no offers. And maybe other things are happening. Maybe you're in conflict with yourself. Maybe you're in a relationship you're in conflict with. Maybe there's things that you're trying to figure out that you just aren't settled about. Maybe you're listening to the wrong music,
Yep.
or you're watching and scrolling the wrong things, and then that negativity just seeps in. And with that negativity, we become consumed in it, right? And it's in front of us all day. And, you know, the work ethic that it took to get up and do your body work and go run. And now I don't feel like doing that because what's it getting me? You know what I'm saying? You see other people have certain things right then and there, and you don't want to do it anymore. And I say I go through that. I think humans, we go through that in different phases, different areas. Um, but you have to go through it so you could understand it. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, once you understand exactly what it is and you experience it, because it's not fun. That low is like, it takes a while just to climb back to the middle. You know what I'm saying? And you might find something, and a lot of times you'll transition to something else and you spike again. And then the low comes from that, right? So um, soon after that, we take a trip to Taiwan. Tell me about your perspective from that whole experience, what you learned. Uh, what was that like? You know, because I coached the team out there instead of coaching the team that flew out there. What was that experience like?
So it was kind of odd when I first seen it. I was like, Coach Rob coaching against his own team. It was just kind of odd to me, but I understood it. So going to Taiwan, that was where I had first started having problems with my hip.
Mm-hmm.
So I couldn't really play to 100% that I wanted to.
Mm-hmm. Did that happen in warm-ups?
No, it happened, I think, a few months before I
Okay.
came to Taiwan.
Okay.
It just wasn't as severe as it was until I got there.
Right.
Playing, I played a little bit, kinda. It was more of a mental thing at that point, which was hindering me from, performing at
Mhm.
that level. As far as my injury goes, as
Mhm.
far as, feeling burnt out playing the
Mhm.
sport. I
Mhm.
really went to Taiwan to, force my mindset to shift to, okay, get out that lazy mindset. This is what you said you wanted to do. You got places you want to be.
Mhm.
So put yourself in a space where basketball can have an influence over you. So that way you can shift out of that lazy mindset. Um, I was getting discouraged because, I was performing, but at the time I didn't know why I wasn't performing the way I was performing. So it wasn't until recently, like now, where I look back and I'm like, dang, maybe it was injury, maybe it was laziness, maybe it was me being burnt out.
Mhm.
But at that time point, I had no clue. I was mentally blocked off to that
Mhm.
because I was more focused on other things. So I really couldn't see, okay, maybe you need to work this out first and then maybe it'll return and come back to you later
Mhm.
on.
Mhm.
As far as just being out there in that environment, um, Taiwan players are amazing. The community over there is amazing. Being around the team, Coach Watts, this other coach,
Ryan. So.
Coach Ryan,
Mhm.
just being around that environment, training, practicing with y'all, practicing with the Taiwanese, being around the city, being around, in the hotel, watching film. I feel like that was the first time I really sat down and watched film like that to, further understand the game.
Mhm.
But yeah, I really enjoyed Taiwan. It was more.
It's a beautiful place, isn't
It
it?
was a beautiful place, but
Yeah.
it was more of just a mental, a a a point for my mental to develop.
Right. Right. Hold on me.
Ready good?
Yep. Yep. Hold on.
Yeah, you guys, you want to check out
We all good, Mac? Yeah. So now that's So you mentioned it was odd. It was tough for me too.
Yep.
It was tough for me because um, a lot of people don't know. Like, again, we don't share our goals all the time. My goal isn't to like coach in the NBA, even coach college. I want to spread the game around the world with my technique. You know what I'm saying? Philosophy. And I really like the Asian players because, first off, they're so talented.
Yep.
Nobody realizes it until you actually go over there.
Extremely fast.
They're so fast and so quick. But they're talented. They're humble. They have work ethic. So I got the assignment to go coach an all-star team from over there, where my heart is still with my team from here. But I wanted to experience what it felt like on the other side. You know, as everybody who's been in the program, Coach Watts is the closest, he closer than any form of blood family. Like, you know, this is my right hand, right? So to see him coach the team and then Coach Ryan, such a talented, beautiful, spirited person, you know what I mean? He could just speak life into anybody. But to experience y'all coming over, and from that standpoint, I did see the gaps of the discipline.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And in one sense, it inspired me to want to change it. And in another sense, it discouraged me and disappointed me of how far American basketball is away from being where its potential could be. We got talented players everywhere.
Yep.
But the discipline is lacking. You know what I mean? Like, even our program, we're disciplined if we make us be, but how disciplined are we if the coaches aren't imposing our will on it? You know what I'm saying? Who's going to really run their sprints as hard as they can or do everything to the way that we've shown you when we're not there, we're not looking? I think being over there, it showed me where that gap was at. You know what I'm saying? But I also, part of me, I like the pain of that. I don't know what it is. You know, I think everybody has their own masochistic thoughts or things that we actually seek the pain in. I didn't mind the team that I was tied to, my team, coming over and seeing that there was a gap in between. In a perfect world, we would have came over with the best team they've ever seen and smoked everything, and you know what I mean? But the pain of it showed me so much character from the guys, good and bad. So I just remember specifically, my favorite memory of Smoke is actually how he played in Taiwan.
Yeah.
Just to see the honor that you outmatched playing against college teams. They were good. The team wasn't the team from the year, so y'all weren't as together. Mm-hmm. But to see him take that on, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, to see the guys who even committed to go out there actually make the trip and go, I was also inspired by that. So I always walk a line too of like being discouraged, and then I got to snap out of it. Yeah. Y'all might think, man, Coach Rob, he just is coming here and coaching this and that. I go through so many ups and downs throughout the days, throughout the weeks. I go through so many, but now I'm learning also how to not spike too high or drop too low. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
And me going through it allows me to be able to share that, right? And so when I see it and I observe it, sometimes we don't have the conversation right when it's happening. I want to watch and see what comes of it, because that's the beauty of it to me. You know what I'm saying? The beauty of you hurting your groin and coming back. You was pretty focused after Taiwan, right? It did something to you. It got you back in that routine, and then boom, you tweak it again. And then then we get ready to play, and you tweak it again. Tell me what that's like, battling, fighting, going through the ups and downs personally. Because when you walk in that gym, as you know, if you suit up, you good to go. Nobody's gonna feel sorry for you, and it's competition on the other side. Tell me what that was like every day. Not just on the court, but what does Alex Randall go through in the 21 hours leading up to even showing up to practice, having to get in the car, make the drive? What was that? What was your thought process with just, you know what I'm saying? With just like, what was a day in your head? What was that like?
Man, a regular day for me during the injury, I would wake up, I would brush my teeth, wash my face. Right after that, I had an ab workout I would do every morning.
Okay.
So I would do that workout. I would go down, make me a smoothie, either a smoothie or a smoothie bowl.
Mm-hmm.
After that, get ready for practice, go ahead and leave. When I get to practice, I would do my rehab. At that point, I wasn't in physical therapy, so I was just using stuff that I found and heard from online and the doctor. So
Now, at this point, we're not knowing the injury is what it is.
Nobody knows yet.
Right.
So I'm just stretching. I'm getting there as early as possible so I can get all my stretching out the way,
Right.
20, 30 minutes. And then, we walk into practice and, we starting good, the one-on-one drills, the layup over the thing. Then we get into 5-on-5, and then it's just like, boom, your hip it disappears.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think it's because of all the sliding and moving. So it's tough to just sit there for a majority of the practice and just watch because, I was doing good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what happened? Like, I'm sitting, I'm doing what I believe I need to do to, get back to where I need to be,
Mm-hmm.
rehabbing my hips, stretching it like I'm supposed to, and it's still causing me problems. So, like, what's the issue?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm trying to get back on the court. I have places I want to get to, and this is hindering me.
Mm-hmm.
So just trying to, figure what's wrong with my hip, and get back on the court, which was my main focus.
Thought process, like, how you feeling about yourself at this point?
How I feel about myself,
And I'm asking specifically, like I played today. I tweaked my hamstring playing, and I, for a second, was upset with my body. Like, man, I just was in here stretching. I got my work in. How dare my hamstring do that to me?
Yeah.
And then I had to circle back and be like, you know what? Let me give my body more grace for what it's been able to push me through.
Yep.
Where it's been with me my whole entire life.
Yep.
Things that I don't even consider, I don't even give thanks for. So instead of me being mad and hitting my hamstring, like, get it together, okay, my hamstring's not at 100%. Let me see what I can do. But that's experience, and that's something I had to be intentional. What was going through it when you feel good, and next thing you know, your hip goes out on you again?
So at that point, when my hip would go out, I'll just check out mentally. I'll just be on autopilot for the rest of the day. Really, I mean, I could say that, I was here and I was there. I didn't like that my hip was tweaking like that, but for the most part, after I would tweak it or I would hurt it a little bit, I would just check out. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't think about anything else. I would just be like, shit, well, it's hurting now. Like, nothing else I can do. So I
Mm-hmm.
just go on about my day for the most part. It wouldn't be until, the following day where I would reflect on, well, damn, you checked out. You could have did this, this, and this
Mm-hmm.
instead of, just sitting there and just watching. So I feel like it was more of a autopilot. I was more in the autopilot mode at that point.
Mm-hmm.
But, as I got through that rough patch, the reflection was even better because now I can apply that into, maybe I might have an injury in the future and I could apply, okay, well, you got an injury now. What else can you do? What else could you do for the team? How can you be around, stick around the environment? How can you benefit the others?
Especially soft tissue injuries, all you can do is rest.
Yeah.
You come back too early, you got 30 minutes. You got 17 slides each way before it's gonna be like, all right, that's enough.
And that's another thing because I was really trying to push my hip, and it wasn't until I got an MRI where they said, bro, you're pushing it, man. Like, your hip is about to pretty much pull away from the bone.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, dang, I've been pushing it that hard. So having to take that break, what was it, 3 weeks?
Mm-hmm.
3 week break.
Maybe longer than that.
Yeah, I think maybe a month.
Yeah, it was at least a month.
So just going through that it was my first time going through something like that. So it was unique to me. Really just, like I said, another place to develop mentally.
So you're going through that. You're not coming to practice
Yep.
as much now because you can't practice. What are you into at that point? What are you interested in? What were you doing in that, in your idle time?
My idle time, I was doing video editing. So
Okay.
I got back big into video editing.
Mhm.
I had experience with it previously, but during that 1 month, I was just on the computer making, visual effects and stuff like that,
Mhm.
just dedicating all my time into that because, I couldn't really do any physical activity,
Mhm.
but, that was interesting to me and I really enjoyed, making edits and stuff like that. So I dedicated my time to that and just learning more. I developed strong skills in that. I feel like that 1 month in video editing, I progressed a lot more than I did when I first picked it up.
Mhm.
So I feel like that just gave me time to, develop, a new skill set.
Mhm.
But that's pretty much where I dedicated most of my time during
Mhm.
that time period.
It's good. It's good to shift it.
Yeah.
Like passion doesn't leave your body.
Mm,
You just gotta channel it to where you wanna passionate, right? And if it's video editing, if it's whatever it is, like you can shift it, and to be able to observe the shift, it's a superpower.
yes, sir.
Because it's never a loss. You take something, and my brother. I told you, even though I'm older, there's certain things that he said that have inspired me, and I live by. Right?
Yeah.
When he was in college, he had like $1,000 check, maybe from like financial aid or something like that, and he had cashed it. Maybe he didn't have a debit card at the time. I don't know what it was, but he cashed it. He had it in his wallet, $1,000 cash, and then something told him take it to the bank. But you get $1,000 cash, and that's a lot of money at some point. Like now, kids they getting $3 million NIL at 17 years old, right? But
Crazy.
back then, we used to be hyped getting $20 for your birthday, $50. You get $100, you damn near rich. You know what I'm saying? So to have $1,000 of cash on you as a college student, something's telling you to put in the bank, but maybe you want to hold it a little bit. Maybe you want to feel it. Maybe you want to see it, right? And he ends up somehow, I don't know if it got stolen. It's not his wallet no more. He don't know if it was his roommate. If he left it somewhere, the $1,000 is gone. And that's not an L you can take when you don't have any money,
Yeah.
right? And he was so upset about it. And I was upset with him because that's one thing is like I could feel, I'm an empath to his emotions also.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, he said, I'm gonna get straight A's. I'm gonna get a 4.0 this semester. I'm gonna lock in and get a 4.0 because of this. So when I look back, I'm never mad that I lost $1,000. I'm gonna say, well, I lost $1,000, but at that moment I made my mind up to get the 4.0. And he got the 4.0 that semester. So he'll never look back and be like, man, I wonder where that 1,000 went. It already he shifted that passion into something else. He shifted that energy, that whatever it was, into something else. And I apply that to a lot of things. You know what I mean? I don't look back, and I can't say that I don't have regrets. I do have things that I wish, if I could do again, I would do them differently. Maybe not wish I could have done them again because I'm here and everything happens perfectly, good and bad.
Yes, sir.
But if I could do it again, I would make a different decision in the moment, right?
Yep.
But everything that I've done or gone through, high and low, I can say that in the moment, I don't look at L's like L's. I'm looking like, okay, because that happened, let me channel myself to this. So if I look back, I know that I would have never been this if this didn't happen. Does that make sense?
I agree with that. Any I don't really see the negatives of things. I don't really believe that there's a negative outcome of anything because it's always a positive on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
So, like you said, I don't really see L's as defeat.
Mm-hmm.
There is no defeat because what you learn from that is more valuable than anything that could have happened previously.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, I try to apply that to everything, and hopefully it'll finally click, and I will never see the negatives of anything ever again.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying that they're being, I'm not gonna say negative. What's a better word? Mm,
Negative might be the word.
it might be the word.
Because, like you said, it's like we make a choice if we want to soak in it.
Yep.
It's a choice. It might feel good to soak in it. Sometimes it feels good to be sad for a couple of days.
Yep.
It don't do nothing long term, but it might feel good to dwell in it, right? Everybody can't always be positive, but you can if you make the choice.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? You don't have to dwell in something just because that's what everybody else does. Positivity. And there's going to be things that happen, God forbid, a family member pass or something tragic happens. We still have the choice.
Yep.
We just might want the grief because it's going to come at some point. You might want to, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's always tricky to figure out the balance between that, you know, of not letting it go too far, not letting it get too far, but we're not in control of. The emotions, they come. We're not in control of them. We're in control of how we react to them. It's a big difference. You can't control sadness. You can control your reaction to it, right? But you also got to feel it, or else it might come later on because you just been pushing it to the side. You got to feel it. It's okay for some days to be sad. Nobody has to know though,
Yep.
right? Because us projecting our sadness and letting everybody know, that's actually us asking for attention. And that's something that should be very personal.
Yep.
So I could be coming off and smiling and positive and good energy and saying, man, I like those slides you got on. Yo, where'd you get that? I like that hoodie that you got on. You know, help somebody with their groceries, do this. And deep down, I'm grieving over something. I don't have to be head down and dragging. So somebody asks me what's wrong, and I say, man, I did this, and this. We can't seek attention that way. You know what I'm saying? And naturally, as humans, we want attention. So to be able to channel that part is another superpower.
Yeah. Now that I think about it, being able to, redirect that energy from sadness to happiness on the outside, it really is a struggle.
Mhm.
Like, that's why I try to keep a neutral composure to things.
Mhm.
So you never, not saying that that's a good thing, because most people wouldn't see it as a good thing. It's good to have people know where you're coming from.
Mhm.
So I feel like just being able to, like you said, channel that energy into being more positive than negative and not really seeking attention is a good thing.
It's that part. The positivity is interpreted.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? But we can be intentional about how we go about it, and we still feel it. But privacy and being in your own solitude is a superpower. I keep using that word because the superpowers are the regular natural elements that are already in us. To be able to sit and meditate and be with yourself, there's people that cannot be by themselves. They don't want to deal with themselves. They don't want to face themselves. They don't want to talk to themselves. Being able just to sit and really reflect and open up on something that could have been bothering you for years. I got stuff in my 30s that that came to a head that bothered me since I was 8, 9 years old that I had to address. You understand what I'm saying? My father, I love him dearly, but there's things that bothered me growing up that I had to address later on because I'm a father now. And as my daughter reaches these ages, her being 13 now, I saw her go from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way to 13. Some things didn't make sense at a certain age, so it triggers me. I need an answer for that.
Yeah.
But it bothered me, and I just compressed it and shifted it away. And it's like, so you'll still have those things. But if I could do it again, I wouldn't have been so emotional with the delivery,
Yeah.
or so emotional because the emotion from the delivery was really because I wanted the attention. And the same way that you run to your room and cry and throw things and rage as a kid, that's a satisfying feeling. Some kids cry and go to sleep. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, whoo, I got that off. And then they grow up to be crash outs because crashing out feels good. And that's all you know. But to be able to channel the same thing and deliver it in a way that's under composure,
Yeah.
it's a superpower. You know what I'm saying? And maybe they'll understand you more. So as we transition into becoming men, because you could be 18, 25, 50. We're just little kids. We're still the little kid of ourself, understanding the little kid of ourself even more.
Yeah.
Then you begin to love yourself on that level. Love who you are. Love the things that you're interested in. Be able to shift your interests. Be able to understand why something might have shifted. Nobody else might know, but you do. But you can't avoid it and say it was this when no, it might be literally something that happened when you was, you know what I'm saying, a kid that's like, yo, it's finally coming to a head. This is really what it is. This is why I'm like this. Let me address this, right? So I want to talk a little bit about your home
Mhm.
because of the injury, and then next thing you're moving into the house, whereas first you were commuting.
Yep.
And tell me about that. Tell me what that was like. Kind of catch us up currently to the decision to do that, what these last couple months have been like, and then where you're at now with yourself.
Yep. So leading up to joining the house, like I said previously, I took a big break, so it was a month in between that time.
Mhm.
But right before leading up to that, I was really going like before you offered for me to come stay at the house, I was going to leave basketball in that time. So, but then my mother came to me and said, Rob, I want you to move into the house. I think it'll be good for you. Just give this because at the time I had expressed to her that I was going to, leave basketball too. She was like, just give it an opportunity. Maybe your love for it will come back. So I was like, okay, if I get into that space, there's a court downstairs. If I'm right in the center of being in the sport, the coaches are there 24/7. You got a court there, you got the players there. There shouldn't be a reason why, you know, you shouldn't develop in this next full year to get to where you want to get to.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt like using being here as a way to knock that laziness that I thought I had out of me.
Mm-hmm.
But in turn, it wasn't laziness. It was just I had decided that I can't operate in this field. Like I want to operate elsewhere. Not saying that I don't love basketball, but it's not benefiting me mentally. So
Mm-hmm.
seeing myself in a different field that I also have interest in, but still staying in this space would do me better than being a player.
Mm-hmm.
So being in the house was great. My first day moving in was amazing. Being around the team helped build better chemistry, of course, even though I didn't really play, just getting to know the players and understand, where they come from, stuff like that. Their situations at home, stuff like that. Um, I wasn't here for long though. Yeah, it's just been a time of understanding, just getting to know everybody and, where they come from. It wasn't more of a basketball thing for me at this point because when I moved in, I really almost 80% made my mind up on what I was going to do and where I was going to go
Mm-hmm.
regarding being in the space of basketball. So I just felt like it was better to understand, the coaches, get to know you more, get to know the players more, stuff like that.
It wasn't basketball for me either. Yeah, it was never basketball. I know me and your mom spoke, and she really cares about you. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing for sure. I admire. She will do anything to support. So she called me, and to be honest, she just thought you were in a funk. You know what I mean? She knows you really well. She just didn't recognize that. And so when I offered for you to come into the house, it wasn't nothing to do with basketball. It was for you to be able to open your brain, open your mind, just think with no pressure. Be amongst young men where you have to turn it on. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't walk around moping with new faces. You have to be able to be like, okay, this is what the environment is. Let me adjust. Right? It's just like going to college.
Yeah.
I went straight from high school to Air Force Academy, so I was technically in the military. I don't care if they're a Mountain West team or not. I was in the military. Air Force Academy. I had to stand in that line, read the book just like this, memorize it, march, wear my uniform, everything. I'm in the military. And when I was there, and I did 6 weeks, and then I left and ended up going to a job corps, which had a basketball team. That was my prep school.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I left that I realized how much I learned from being there. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
I learned I always liked to clean, but I enjoyed it more because when everybody is on the same page with something, there's a beauty in that. You know what I'm saying? When the entire team is doing it, it's not just you. Everybody got to get up at 4:30 a.m. Not just you. You know what I'm saying? Everybody got to, not just you. So the relatability is there. And then that's how you become closer, because it's like we all going through different things, but somehow we cross paths here.
Yeah.
Some of my best friends to this day I met in prep school. You know what I'm saying? And you never know where it's going to lead to, or what you might have in common. Or, oh, I went to school with this 10 years from now, 15 years from now. Keep those relationships.
Yes, sir.
That's important. You know what I mean? And so you coming, I wanted you to get away from home so you didn't feel stuck, because you're going to be away from home for the rest of your life. And you should touch back. You should go back and enjoy the moments that you're there, because you're probably going to be not there longer than you are.
Yep.
You know what I mean? What do you feel like you learned in the couple of months being here that and you might not know yet because it's very recent, but what do you feel like you might have learned in a couple of months that you want to apply and as you journey and take this solo trip that you're about to take as a man?
For me, budgeting,
Mm.
managing finances, just learning how to spread money around, to get things that you need, food, transportation, stuff like that. So
Mhm.
just learning how to balance, where you put your money and still managing, having enough money to, do fun little stuff and things like that. So that's
Mhm.
my biggest takeaway. Trying to think of something else. I can't really, it's not really, registering to me right now, but
Mhm.
I feel like further down the line, when I look back on it, it'll finally come to me.
Mhm.
So, but that's the only thing I can think of right now.
Okay, that's good. And so, as is current today, what's Alex Randall got up? What's Alex doing? The decision that you made the decision that putting basketball to the side or hanging it up?
Ah, man, hanging it up.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then and so now what's your interest? What is it that how
So
you see yourself?
into real estate.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna work under my mom's company.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's Pedigree Holdings. So they work in right now. She's doing fix and flips.
Mm-hmm.
So, but before she did a full house.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure which she wants to expand into commercial.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm pretty sure that's where I'm probably gonna step in because that's the side of the business that she wants me to work in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also looking into AI stuff. AI is getting big right now. So it'll be good to incorporate the AI side into real estate because, eventually it's going to happen. So might as well get on it early.
Mm-hmm.
Also looking at stocks. I have a few people in the family that work in stocks. So just, getting information on, different options. I haven't really set a, a deciding choice on what I'm specifically going to be doing. Is more of an incorporation of multiple things, just trying it out, feeling it out. But that handful of things that I just named is where I'm going to be putting my focus into.
Mm-hmm. And like we spoke the other day, I support it, and the work ethic that I seen just shifted,
Yep.
channel it into that, but be wary of them spikes and them
Yep.
lows. So gradually learn more. You know what I'm saying? Gradually get the experience. Take it in stride. Understand there's going to be games that you lose or don't perform like you want to, just like basketball.
Yep.
Basketball, everybody doesn't go to NBA. It just prepares you. It's your personality. Who you're on the floor, it's your personality. So you might get into real estate and then all of a sudden somebody gets in your head and you want to score too much.
Yeah.
Feel what I'm saying? Instead of the gradual wins. Anything that you've experienced, just remember that and know that it's going to show itself in different fields. And that's part of the cheat code on how to navigate it. You're not going to win every game. You don't win every game in basketball, right?
Yes, sir.
You don't win a game. You don't pitch a perfect game in baseball. You don't, you're not, everything's not always perfect. But if you could take what you've learned and maybe almost even document it, journal it. Your mother took pictures and videos, like write letters to yourself, like certain things that might be going through your head in certain moments. Jot it down. I got notes in my phone that I'll just, a random day, I'll just go, and I'll look back a year later and be like, damn, that's what I was thinking on that day. Just write certain things down just to see where you at. Tap in with yourself. You know what I mean? And I have no doubt that you will find success. Be successful. That's like, that's up for what anybody's definition of successful is.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? I have no doubt that you'll find success. But if anything that you learn in the time here, and our relationship won't stop, it's just beginning. You know what I'm saying? It's just being able to channel the gifts that you have into different fields and understanding that with every positive, every high is always a balance. So you finding that middle ground, you're going to be very aware. Don't make decisions emotionally. You know what I'm saying? Don't seek the attention with things. Just go. So if that's any advice I could give you, that's what I want to give you.
Yes,
And
sir.
I'm glad we sat down, had this interview.
That's what I'm glad too.
Yeah, and it's something we wanted to do for a long time. I didn't know it was gonna come because of these circumstances, but like I said, our relationship is, I would always like it to be more than basketball, right? Because when I step onto the basketball court, I step into character as Coach Rob. I told you I'm the person I am before I ever started coaching basketball. I try to give the same love that I was given from the people in my life to my students. I was fortunate enough to have a father growing up. I try to give the father the love that my pops gave me to my kids. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So just you know, that's really the goal of what I'm trying to do. And I'm glad that we had that experience because it happened for a reason. I'm glad we was able to have that experience, and I'm excited to see where you go from there.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you having me.
Yep.
I appreciate everything.
Yep.
Shout out to